Best look for you.
Made headlines, but few pointed out that, as usual, it played fast and loose with the rules that govern the process, which require a prior period of public notice and comment, invoking national security to levy the fee. The Trump administration has been following this pattern from the start. One of its early actions was to fire more than a dozen inspectors general, disregarding the law that required specific reasons for each one's firing and public notice.
Or you guys just didn't get that and you're just assuming.
The administration seems to be ignoring and flouting laws and rules purposefully so as to erode the checks on its authority. It could have pushed Congress to pass legislation raising tariffs to whatever level Trump wanted. The Republican majorities there have denied him practically nothing. Similarly, it could have asked Congress to shut down USAID, since foreign aid has rarely been very popular. Instead, President Trump took unilateral executive action. The administration is deliberately refusing.
I mean, Farad, you know that the Supreme Court has aligned with Trump on most of this stuff. I mean, even the withholding of funding. So you guys are crying about something that, well, the Supreme Court has already agreed to. And then you're trying to say he's going against the government or having or abuse of power, but everything's within the guidelines of our three-party system, but our three government part system, which is the judiciary, which is the Supreme Court, which handles disputes between the president and Congress, which is our legislative branch. So I'm not even sure what's the problem here. Like, things are kind of going how they're supposed to, how the forefathers kind of written it out, and you guys are upset because it's not going your way and now it's an overreach. It goes to the Supreme Court. And then you guys get mad when it don't go y'all way. And now y'all saying, oh, it's an abuse of power. Remember, Trump done filled up to the Supreme Court. Excuses.
To play by the rules in ways that look to most observers like usurpations of authority and accumulation of power. Some are deeply troubled by this. Others brush it off. But the question I want to ask is why? Why has America's vaunted system of checks and balances proved so weak? Among the Western democracies, America today stands out. Amid the widespread rise of populism, discontent with various establishments, and angry political rhetoric, the U.S.
Shout out to Jet and Cache My Memory for the gifts. Appreciate the support, my guys.
U.S. appears to have moved further than any other down the path of illiberal democracy, where constitutionalism and the rule of law are being steadily undermined. Hungary is the obvious other example, but Hungary is a very young and fragile democracy, scarred by decades of communism. The United States is the oldest constitutional republic in the world. And yet Sweden's V-Dem Institute has described the erosion of American democracy as unprecedented in scale. Any one of the administrations.
Bro, this is what I'm saying. It's like pathetic. It's so pathetic, the takes that they come with. And your take is pathetic, Farad, because you're mad that things are not going your way. The Supreme Court's aligning with Trump. Congress then gave Trump the power to do this. I mean, even if before he was there and before you guys was there, Congress still gave the president power to do what he's doing right now. I mean, especially with the tariffs and the trade. It's like you guys are crying about stuff that, well, long ago, Congress already decided on. You guys are getting mad about stuff that you guys took to the Supreme Court and lost on, and now it's an erosion of our democracy? Like, are you serious? Like I said, y'all just sore losers, and then when you can't win, you want to flip the whole board.
Actions might have in a previous era provoked public outcry. But today we routinely see regulatory threats and lawsuits against media companies, threats to deny law firms government business or access to federal buildings, the use of the Justice Department to target political opponents, and the use of military forces within the United States. Some laud these moves as necessary acts of executive authority, but almost no one would disagree that the breadth and number of these actions are unprecedented, certainly in the half-century since Watergate. Ironically, part of the problem stems from the age of the Constitution, which in many ways is an enduring success. America's political framework actually dates back not even to 1776 or 1789, but further to the...
What are you going to try to say? America's Constitution is old and its age is showing. So what is that you trying to say that? I'm gonna try to predict what he's about to say. You trying to say, well, because we're losing, it's because of the American Constitution, how old it is. Because if it wasn't so old and we can amend some things, us Dems would be in power, we'd be winning. I mean, like I said, y'all sound like sore losers.
Structures of government put in place by early English colonial settlers. This system was modern for its age, but that was 300 years ago. Today, to give one critical example, many Western democracies have departments of justice and electoral commissions that are independent of the elected government. In America, neither prosecutors nor elections are really insulated from politics or elected politicians.
I'm sorry, dog, but you don't know that for sure. Just because they're not told to say, oh, yeah, who do you identify with? And they can sit there and lie and say, oh, no, I'm independent. I don't lie with either side. But when they get in there, they're more liberal or more conservative. So just because people don't have to write down their political affiliation doesn't mean that they're independent of any political affiliation or any political influence. Like, you don't know that. And you're pretty much trying to say, our Department of Justice can be politicized. Yeah, under Biden, he wasn't saying shit about that, though. Now it's Trump. You want to say this? You sound like a sore loser. I'm sorry.
Since Watergate, certain norms have developed around the executive not interfering, but they are just norms.
And shout out to my man H3 ISIS. Farad has no opinion. He just reads whatever they put in front of him like a puppet. He's a propagandist, nothing more. And dog, I definitely agree with you on that one. So I'm just like, bro, I don't even, they did you dirty. If he got written this, if this was the script, they did him dirty because it just made this guy sound like the biggest sore loser in history.
The Trump administration has shown by breaking them without consequence.
Man, I'd have read that script and I'd have been like, bro, y'all not about to make me sound like a sucker on live television. I know that. Like, there's no way. No way this man read this and truly believed that. Like, dog, you sound like a bunch of babies. Like, man, shout out to my man Vlastine. He said left only knows how to bitch, never solve anything. I know, right? All the complaints in the world, all the criticism in the world, no solutions, not a single one.
Similarly, other democracies have more nonpartisan ways to pick judges and fixed terms for them, unlike America's partisan mechanisms to appoint judges who then sit for life. Ironically, the world learned many of these checks and balances, such as the Supreme Court that has the ultimate power of review over laws, from America. But then they fine-tuned them as they were enacted. Stephen Levitsky, one of the foremost scholars of democratic collapse, the co-author of How Democracies Die, says that perhaps the most important reason for the institutional decay...
democracy's dying because things aren't going my way. Like, oh my God, it's just not fair.
That shit is hard. Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Give me a fucking break. But excuse my language, but shout out to my man Big Wave Dave. People still watch CNN? Yep, yes they do, Dave. Yes they do. Actually, man, you know what? Just to be a dick about it, let's see here. How much people actually watch this take? Oh yeah, about 367,000 people. Yes, still watch this. Yep. Hey, and shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says Farad equals Timu William Defoe. Oh wow. No, oh wait, Timu. I heard that before. Oh, man, let me look this guy up. I know I heard that name before.
Is that America has been so successful over the years that it has never seen the need to change. It's a truism in business and life that one rarely learns from success, only from failure.
Nah, you messed up, Castro. Really, bro? Hey, complete white man, but I'm not gonna lie, bro. The nose matches up so crisp and like, bro, it's like a perfect match on the nose.
Won the Cold War, pioneered the information revolution, and continues to stand atop the world by many material measures. So we don't see the need to examine our own system, consider its flaws, and improve it. American exceptionalism has blinded us to weaknesses in our constitutional and political system, Levitsky says.
So instead of listening to the American people, I mean, you rather listen to foreigners on what they say about our government. Son of a, this guy, bro, this guy here, though. I should have known that's what you was going to end off on. Should have known. You started off on H-1B visas. I should have known you were going to start it off on. Let's listen to the people who don't even live in America about the democracy or the constitutional republic of America. Okay, bro.
Beside this lack of introspection, Levitsky describes as crucial the failure of leadership. We have no memory of democratic collapse or authoritarian rule, he notes. In places like Poland and Brazil, generations know what it is like to have lost the rule of law and constitutional safeguards.
Yeah, but in America, I mean, let's be real. Like, our grandparents don't even know what it's like to live like, well, my grandparents know what it's like to live like that because they're from a different country. But let's be real. The Lord knows my mom don't know like that, to be put under a authoritarian rule. You don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. And if you're around my age, you don't know nothing about that. So let's be real. As long as America's been standing, we've been on a pretty good path away from an authoritarian rule. The problem is that these Dems are not getting their way, sort of framing it as authoritarian rule because things aren't just going their way. And it's kind of effed up because y'all should honestly be talking to y'all constituents and the American people instead of trying to convince us that there's something wrong with our Constitution. I mean, are you serious? But it is what it is.
But Republican leaders, business leaders, Supreme Court justices.
And shout out Big Wave Dave. He's like, really? He's bringing up Brazil? I know, right? It's just, bro, like, come on, bro. How an American can you be?
Don't seem to think we could actually watch democracy decay and even die. This is America, they seem to think. We're different. That failure of imagination is creating a complacency that might prove deadly. Go to cnn.com/Fareed for a link to my
I don't know. I'm not trying to really hear from Steve Zelensky, or who's probably never grew up in America. Let me hear from a Steve with the last name that ends in Dale or something. I mean, yes, give me the most American last name you can throw at me. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get to let's get to the Supreme Court meets today to discuss, well, what was it? Birthright citizenship? Let me see if I can. Whoops, wrong one. All right, since I got up the wrong one, we're going to go ahead and give you guys a filler real quick of this old guy right here.
Really positive and uplifting call. You've dealt with all of these figures in that region. You know how tenuous this can be. One step forward, two steps back.
Yes.
You feel this one is different?
I do, because we have so much widespread support from all of the Gulf Coast Arab countries. We have widespread support.
All right, there it is. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I had to make sure I find the right video. Yep, Supreme Court meets today to discuss, what was it, birthright citizenship, but it still says, oh, wow. Okay. Sorry, guys. Make sure I get this right. There we go.
Happening today, the U.S. Supreme Court is set to vote on whether to take up Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal to overturn her federal sex trafficking conviction. She claims an agreement Jeffrey Epstein made with federal authorities that shielded him from prosecution should have covered her as well. Maxwell is serving 20 years in federal prison. Joining us now to discuss this and more, CNN's chief U.S. Supreme Court analyst, Joan Piskupic, and CNN legal analyst, Carrie Cordero. Joan, you first. This Maxwell appeals case is one of hundreds the justices will be making decisions on very soon. What does that say to you in her appeal, and what will we know if the justices take it?
Sure. In fact, they're meeting right now, Wolf, looking at hundreds and hundreds of petitions were filed over the summer. And when I say that they're reviewing them, I'm using the word reviewing actually quite loosely because they get so many that they only actually discuss around their conference table.
All right, we already watched this one. I'm not sure what happened, but I think CNN is having a malfunction because it's supposed to be talking about birthright citizenship, and they're over here talking about Ghislaine, and it's the same video with a different title. So they effing up over there at CNN, man. Y'all got to get y'all ish together, man. Y'all CNN. Y'all get too much money to be effing up like this. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this one right here. Mondani on Trump warning he's going to have problems with D.C. I mean, all right, let's hear him out.
Democratic nominee for New York Mayor, Zohran Mamdani. And I so much appreciate your time, Assemblyman. And President Trump has just spoken out on Eric Adams getting out of the New York mayor race. And he told Reuters, called him on the phone and said, I think that gives Andrew Cuomo a much better chance. I do welcome it. How wide is your lead, as you see it, over Cuomo now that Adams is out?
I think the race is fundamentally the same as it was, in that New Yorkers are not as concerned as to who is on the ballot, but rather what's on the ballot. And they're tired of this record that they've seen over the last 4 years where Eric Adams has raised their rent, where he has slowed down their already extremely slow buses, where he has overlooked the very neighborhoods he promised to protect. And they know that Eric Adams' record is Andrew Cuomo's agenda, and they want to turn the page on that. And that's what our campaign actually presents.
So Eric Adams, we know, met privately with Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, earlier this month, is our understanding. And that one of the topics was possible opportunities in the Trump administration, one of which possibly could be ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Why do you think Adams dropped out now? We are essentially 1 month from Election Day.
I have to be honest with you. I think it's a fool's errand to try and understand what Eric Adams does and why he does it. What I think is clear, though, is whether we're speaking.
Well, people are saying that Eric Adams should drop out to give Cuomo more of an advantage, but all three sides are standing strong. Well, of course, Mamdani's standing strong as the favored, but Cuomo and Adams are both standing strong to try to see if they can beat him. And to be honest, I mean, the fact that they're losing to this guy, I mean, ooh, yeah, Cuomo, you kind of ruined your history with the people of New York. And Eric Adams, yeah, you did too. You did too. So y'all both effed up in their eyes. And I mean, New Yorkers were never going to consider an Republican. So that Swaley dude never even considered.
Speaking about Adams, or we're speaking about Cuomo, we're speaking about supposed leaders who are willing to put their own personal ambition before the needs of the people they're supposed to serve.
So wait, Adams dropped out? All right, then. So now, hey, it gets all up to Cuomo then. It's all up to Cuomo.
New Yorker.
I mean, it made sense for Adam to drop out because, I mean, let's be honest. If we was to rank them, it was like Adams at the bottom, then Cuomo, then Mamdani taken first. So now it's just the first seat, the second seat.
Are right now under attack from an authoritarian administration in Washington. Donald Trump has ushered through legislation that will throw them off their health care, take SNAP benefits away from them, all in service of the largest wealth transfer this country has seen. And instead of fighting back against that vision, instead of fighting for New Yorkers, these politicians are looking to get on the phone with Donald Trump to see what it is that they could broker together.
Do you think that there is some sort of a deal between Trump and Adams?
I can't speak to that. All I can tell you, though, is that Donald Trump is clearing the way for Andrew Cuomo because Donald Trump knows that Andrew Cuomo will clear the way for Trump's agenda. And New Yorkers are tired of that agenda. They want someone who's actually beholden to the people of this city, not to the White House.
So Trump's trying to say there's money behind this. He's threatened you on social media. He said,
I would have to ask him, what's Trump's agenda? Because it just seemed like all Adams was trying to do was to reverse bad policies, like the rent freezing and all that good stuff. So I don't know. What do you mean by Trump's policies? A more capitalistic approach?
And I'm going to just read it because he just posted it today. He's going to have problems, talking about you, with Washington like no mayor in the history of our once great city. Remember, he needs the money from me as president in order to fulfill all of his fake communist promises. He won't be getting any of it. So what's the point of voting for him? So the number this year from the federal government was $7.4 billion to New York City. Are you okay if New York City loses that?
No, we will fight for every single dollar that the city currently receives from the federal government. And I look for examples across this country that showcase the best way to respond to Donald Trump's strengths is not collaboration, is his threats rather. It's responding with strength. And what we see in California is an attorney general of the state has estimated that for every dollar they spent on lawsuits against the federal government's threats to withhold funding, they won more than $30,000 in what would otherwise have been lost. And so we will take that same approach.
You visited a synagogue last week over the Jewish New Year, over Rosh Hashanah, to bridge a divide with the Jewish community that you have had. And in that synagogue, as the New York Times notes, they were among the very first to call for a ceasefire right after the October 7th attacks. The rabbi in the service actually called Israel's war in Gaza genocide, which is something, of course, you have done as well. Many voters, though, who care deeply about this issue.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people are. Yeah, there are rabbis who are against what's going on, who do see what's going on in Israel and Gaza as a genocide. I mean, even rabbis and, scholars who study genocides.
Who are Jewish vehemently disagree. They see all this as deeply anti-Semitic. They see you that way. And Congressman Jerry Nadler, who supports you and his Jewish.
Which is, I'm be honest with you, a communist. I mean, maybe. Socialist, for sure. Does he have terrible policies? Absolutely. But anti-Semitic, I mean, just because he said that he wouldn't want to go to Israel as his first thing as being voted in, I mean, That's absolutely reasonable, to be quite honest with you. I don't get what was so anti-Semitic about that. But shout out to my man Vlastino, wondering what the left would think if Trump reintroduced the Department of Truth and Misinformation. I'm done. And yeah, you think they would you would think they would be fascist. Yeah, you think they would think it would be fascist. Let's see here. I don't think so. I hope not. But let's be real though. If Trump was to reintroduce the Department of Truth and Misinformation, I mean, let's be honest, dog. They would lose their ish, and they would think it would be a political get back. It'd be political revenge. We're only gonna go after Democrats, and it would go from political truth to misinformation.
Says bluntly, obviously, he ought to be to reassure the Jewish community. The community is very divided, basically on 8 lines. Do you feel the need at this point to reassure the Jewish community in any more or different way than you have?
I feel the need to earn the support of each and every New Yorker, and that includes Jewish New Yorkers who may have concerns about our campaign or our.
And I know I didn't even know Trump was thinking about a Department of Truth and Misinformation. I thought that was like Kash Patel's thing with, like, having a department of just unclassified documents.
Agenda, and to reassure them as to the focus of this campaign is to deliver for every New Yorker. And what I find, especially now in the high holy days, this is a time when Jewish New Yorkers, especially with Yom Kippur, will reflect, will atone, will do the hard work of looking inward. And I think that our politics, our city, could do very well, frankly, to emulate those lessons and actually to be able to reflect upon what has worked and not worked in this city. And I was really privileged to be at that Rosh Hashanah service. I had an older Jewish woman come up to me and give me a sticker that said, "Reject the smear campaign, join the Schmear campaign." It was a sticker of a bagel and why she was supporting our campaign. And I'm looking forward to attending a number of services for Yom Kippur with Congressman Nadler as we continue to bring this message to each and every Jewish New Yorker across the 5 boroughs.
So Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting the White House as we are talking today. He addressed the UN General Assembly here just a few days ago in New York. Now, the International Criminal Court has a warrant out for his address. They say that they accuse him of crimes against humanity. You have called, as I mentioned, Netanyahu's actions in Gaza genocide. It's going to become not just a rhetorical, but a question rooted in reality if you are mayor. As mayor of New York, you will oversee the next UN General Assembly, right? If you're mayor, will you abide by the International Criminal Court? Will you have Prime Minister Netanyahu arrested if he's here?
Look, I've said time and time again that this is a city that believes in international.
I mean, you might want to fall back on that, Mandani. I mean, just for political sake, and I do get it. There's a lot of people who do want Bibi to be arrested, but leave that to Israel. He's facing his own corruption charges in Israel. If we go ahead and get involved, I'm be honest with you, all the Zionists are going to lose their shit. And you know what's wrong? You might get assassinated. I ain't gonna lie. You might want to stay away from that guy, Bibi. Like, don't even try him. Let Israel handle
Allah. This is a city whose values are ones that deserve to actually be reflected in our commitments. And I think that our city should uphold the warrants the International Criminal Court issues, whether it be for Benjamin Netanyahu or Vladimir Putin. And also, I am not Donald Trump. I will follow the laws as they are, as opposed to bend them to my own will. So we will pursue every legal avenue to ensure that that accountability is present. And the reason for that is that the context we are speaking about, this is a man who has orchestrated a genocide that has killed one Palestinian child every hour for close to 2 years. This is someone whose conduct I hear about from New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. And they come to me with a horror at what they have witnessed. And for some New Yorkers, a horror as to what they have lost. There was a Palestinian New Yorker who spoke to me about losing 85 members of her family who were all killed by the Israeli military in Gaza. It's unconscionable. And a mayor's responsibility is to the people of this city, but it's also an opportunity to show your values as the leader of this city.
So the New York Times reported that Trump spoke with Cuomo on the phone, actually last month, and about the mayoral race. Now, Cuomo's denied this conversation took place, but this is the New York Times reporting. And as I pointed out a few moments ago, Trump has been very clear on who he backs, but it actually goes farther than that, right? He has attacked you personally and publicly like this.
He's not a socialist. He's a communist, okay? This is not a socialist, man. This is a communist. I don't like to see a communist become...
Well, socialism does lead to communism in a way. I mean, taking all the money from the rich, giving it to the government, therefore giving the government most of the power. I mean, kind of leads right into it.
I will tell you that. I call him my little communist. He's my little communist mayor. We should never be in a position where we're talking about a communist.
We're going to end up with a communist mayor. It's not even believable, my beautiful New York. I think if a communist takes over New York City, I think that's a gift to the Republican Party.
Last time you were on this program, you were unequivocal in saying you do not like capitalism. But Trump, just in those remarks there, I counted, called you a communist 8 times. Are you?
No, I'm a democratic socialist. I've said that time and again. And I think it reflects the fact that whereas that identity would have been enough for Donald Trump in the past, now he doesn't even want to use that because he knows that the message of my politics is one that is connecting with New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. It's a message of dignity in each and every person's life. And what we're seeing in these clips and what we're seeing in what Donald Trump says is he's going through the many stages of grief. First, it's denial that this could ever take place. Now it's acceptance. And still through it all, he is looking to use every tool at his disposal to help Andrew Cuomo become the next mayor of the city. So the word democratic socialist, and I put it in the context of the conversation you and I had when you said you had real issues with capitalism. That context is important. Our Isaac DeVere is reporting about your recent call with President Obama. And he reports, Obama reminded the Democratic nominee for New York mayor how many would be watching to see if a democratic socialist could pull off running the nation's largest city, and how many critics would be waiting to pounce if it went.
I mean, yeah, you mean how you guys are with Trump? I mean, congratulations. Now y'all got your own personal Trump, somebody that everybody's praying on to fail. But here's the thing about Trump. Trump's running the country, and you're hoping that the country fails. I mean, this man's running NYC, and there's people who's hoping NYC fails because of it. And both are wrong. Both are wrong for thinking that. The right is wrong for hoping that NYC fails, and the left is wrong for hoping that America fails. But here's the problem. You guys are hoping that America fails, which would in turn cause NYC to fail. So you guys are a little bit crazier. Just a little bit, guys. Not too much, but y'all are pretty out there.
What do you think about that? And do you expect that he will endorse you and will stand with you before Election Day?
I can't make any predictions as to endorsements. I can say, however, that I've been proud to receive the endorsements I've received thus far from Governor Hochul, from Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie, Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins of the state Senate, who will be key in enacting our agenda and working together in Albany. And what I've found is that this vision of democratic socialism, it's one that often comes back to what Martin Luther King said decades ago. A vision of, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism, there must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. Here in New York City, wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, 1 in 4 are in poverty. 500,000 kids go to sleep hungry every night. It's untenable to live with this kind of a divide. We have to actually have a politics that puts working people first. And I think to this question of being under the microscope, to be the mayor of New York City is a responsibility that you must fulfill. It's also an opportunity to actually.
Yeah, but here's one of the things I love about New York City is that they do have a lot of small businesses there, but y'all do need big corporations in order to honestly have real employment. Bro, everything just can't be small business. Yeah, make it almost impossible for big corporations to operate there. I mean, besides McDonald's and other fast food places, and that's not the best jobs to have, to be quite honest with you. So it's either you're a complete professional or you're just pretty much doing retail and fast food. I mean, there's really not too much of the in between. And trust me, I know I have family that live out there, and they'll tell you it's it's either there's really no in between like there is out here in Ohio or these places that got factories where you can kind of work in there and be in that middle class. It's either you're an outright professional, degreed and all that good stuff, or you're just working in, the service. I mean, and here's the problem. Those usually happen to places that have high crime where these corporations can't really trust to be around. Small businesses, they got to take a leap of faith and hopefully they got insurance. But big corporations, they can go wherever they want for the best deal possible or for, the best safety they can get.
Serve New Yorkers who are being pushed out of the city and to show an example of what life could be like.
Do you feel when you have a conversation with Barack Obama or other leaders of the Democratic Party, Chuck Schumer, others, and Hochul's endorsed you, I understand now there's endorsed you, but on that line also business leaders in the city who consider themselves to be big Democratic donors. Do you feel that they are taking you at this point seriously, like you could win, and that they are listening to you? Or do you feel that they are not taking you seriously and that they are dismissing you as a communist?
I would say that they're taking me seriously. And the most accurate measure of that is the time that is being spent. The choice to actually have those meetings, to have those conversations. It's reflective of a fact that this is a campaign that is ever expanding in its coalition. You know, the reason I sit before you as a Democratic nominee, it's not because...
Yeah, all right, now let's go ahead and move on to the next video, because what I've started to notice is that, yo, people, I don't even think that the left can defend Mandani no more. Like, they don't even like watching Mandani.
Shutdown, showdown. We are 27 hours away from another government shutdown, and there is just one party that is political to blame, and that would be the Democrats, led by Senate Minority Leader in name only. That would be Democrat Chucky Schumer, and the House Minority Leader in name only, Hakeem Jeffries. Two guys from Brooklyn, New York, have been in the past big opponents of government shutdowns over the years. Here's a reminder of how much it has mattered to them in the first place and in the past. Take a look.
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
If the government shuts down,
it is not normal to shut down the government. We don't get what we want. AOC. You gotta love when they cook themselves.
It's not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos.
Families will be hurt. Farmers will be hurt.
It's the service members who will work without a paycheck. It's the firefighters who will be furloughed.
This shutdown, you know who's going to feel the pain? You know who it hurts? You. Everyday people and the most vulnerable. Seniors, veterans, working families, hungry kids, y'all.
Democrats are signaling they're ready for a fight. This time, Schumer tells the Associated Press, quote, "Things have changed."
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
Democrats have a favorite method of keeping the government open, something known as a clean CR, continuing resolution. It just keeps the government funding at current levels. No strings attached. Keep funding the government. Nobody gets laid off. Essential and non-essential services continue. Schumer loves clean CRs so much, he once demanded one from President Trump back during Donald Trump's first term. He even just ushered one through the Senate earlier in the year to avoid a government shutdown. Guess what? Schumer.